Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with ChrisChamasiros. I talk about politics, sports, and entertainment to keep you well rounded. What's going on around the world? If you don't like hearing the truth, definitely don't tune into this channel. So let's get started today. I really believe that there's going to be a full coordinated attack to try to take down Nick Fuentes somehow. Something's going on here, and things just seem very fishy and suspicious. You have to think about it. Nick has been canceled, from call it prime time. He can't go on Fox News, or he can't sit down with Morgan, or he can't go on the Patrick Bet David show. He just recently went on, obviously, but you see where I'm going. He can't go on to mainstream media. He's still banned from YouTube. He still can't use PayPal, or, he's having issues with his bank account, and he's been put on a no-fly list. And I just find it very, very suspicious that all of a sudden now everybody's welcoming in Nick Fuentes to be on their show. So first, Nick goes on the Patrick Bet David show. And we all know how Patrick Bet David, he loves money. That's Patrick Bet David's God is money. There's no doubt about it. And Patrick Bet David, he has like a board. He has, I guess they're investors. I don't know what they are. But if you have a board, you can't get on YouTube and just say whatever you want. You have to ask for permission to do certain things, have people on, vice versa, whatever it is. You're not just free. You're not a freelancer. And then you have to figure how much money that Bet David is making and the connections that he has on YouTube. He wouldn't have Nick Fuentes on for years. For years, he wouldn't have him on the show. And I believe it was because he was afraid he might, lose his channel, something to do with money. Maybe he definitely didn't like the message, because I believe that Patrick Bet David is bought and paid for. I believe that Adam Sosnick brings him checks from big Israeli donors. I truly believe that. Adam Sosnick, he just constantly says dumb things. He never loses his job. Patrick Bet David barely even, scolds him and lets him keep, going down certain avenues and making the show lose all credibility. So it tells me it has something to do with money. So we all know that Patrick Bet David is very, very calculated. I don't believe for a minute that he just woke up one day and said, you know what, I'm going to have Nick Fuentes on today. I believe that he called the right channels, YouTube, the big shots that could shut his show down or shut his channel down. And he got permission. But I believe that there's a bigger reason, there's a coordinated effort here to do something to Nick and even to Tucker to some degree. You know, all of a sudden now Piers Morgan wants to have Nick on. He goes on the Patrick Bet David show. He sits down with Tucker Carlson. For years, Tucker Carlson wouldn't sit down with Nick Fuentes. Now Nick is headed to the Piers Morgan show. And why is that? I'm not buying it that they all just woke up one day and said, you know what, let's have this kid on. I want to see what he has to say. I'm not buying that at all. Patrick Bet David, he made a comment on his show, which I'm going to play for you in a few minutes. He says, I believe that Nick Fuentes has brought out the Nick Fuentes in Tucker Carlson. So basically, what Patrick Bet David is saying, since Nick Fuentes is known as an anti-Semite and a Nazi and all that other garbage, which is a complete lie, he's trying to say that Tucker is the same person. And why is that? Why? There's only one reason why Patrick Bet David would be saying that. Because Tucker is now telling the truth about AIPAC controlling our entire government. He's telling the truth about Israel, the endless wars, the $45 million a day spending. You saw what happened when Ted Cruz went on his show. And I don't see what the game, and then also Patrick Bet David is saying Nick is the same as Tucker and Tucker is Nick. Maybe he's trying to get the audiences. Maybe he's trying to get Nick's audience to listen to Tucker now, because now Tucker will take that audience in a new direction. I have no clue what's going on, but something is going on and it doesn't seem right. And the point of the video is, don't fall for it. Tucker is not an ally of America First at all. He's been in politics for 30, 40 years, and he just figured out all this stuff about Israel and AIPAC, 6 months ago. He's 55 years old. I'm not buying the wishy-washy routine. He sits down with Nick and then he stabs him in the back, and he goes around on every show now when he talks about Nick, and he calls him an anti-Semite. And he's doing that on purpose. So he can look like the cool guy and be like, well, I sat down with him and talked to him. And now you try to plant that seed. Maybe he's thinking that the people that watch Nick will switch over to him because he claims that he's not an anti-Semite. I know one thing about Tucker. He's a liar, and he can't be trusted as far as you could throw him. And I believe that this is a strategy, a triangular strategy, because they're trying to figure out what to do with the amount of influence and power that Nick Fuentes yields with his followers. And it does have something to do with J.D. Vance. I think that they're playing chess for 2028. And as the quicker that they could try to start to change the narrative, it's going to be super hard. I don't think that Nick's audience is abandoning him at all for Tucker or any of these other bought and paid for liars and shills that they are. I don't, but they're trying to do something to regain the narrative, recoup the narrative that they want to spin, this corporate media. Piers Morgan cannot be trusted at all. He's a paid Zionist. We all know that. I don't trust Patrick Bet-David at all. He's had a lot of the pro-Israel lobby on and the Zionists on the show, and they've just blatantly lied about Candace Owens. Alan Dershowitz blatantly lied about Epstein not working for the Israeli government. Zero pushback at all from Patrick Bet-David, who he claims that he knows everything all the time, and they get up and they make these ludicrous statements that he knows are not true, and he just lets them go. And the reason why he's letting it go is because he's getting a big check. And he wants his audience to hear that. That's exactly what's happening. Now, I don't know what their plans are to try to stop Nick's influence. I don't think they have a plan. I think they're trying to figure it out as they go along. That's my opinion. And I really believe that Nick's life to a certain is definitely in danger. I mean, we saw that guy from Silicon Valley that went on Tucker's Carlson show who murdered that kid. There was some type of whistleblower, and Tucker confronted him. Well, yeah, I think you murdered him. That wasn't a suicide. That wasn't a what. Cameras were cut, blood all over the place. You saw the interview. You know what I'm referring to. And, I'm sure that Nick is careful and he has security and he takes precautions, but he really, really needs to watch himself. I'm not threatening him. Don't interpret it like that. I'm saying he needs to watch himself, because something, the gatekeepers or the people that really yield power with social media and the messaging, it just seems like a coordinated effort to try to gain back control from the influence that Nick Fuentes has that he has and he's yielding. And I don't think they know how they're going to figure it out. So what is the final option? The Charlie Kirk option, Candace Owens option, that, the things that she's been talking about. Let's let Patrick Bet-David talk here and listen to what he says.
I believe it's called. And here's what Tucker had to ask him. Go ahead, Rob.
Would you say the word faggot on camera?
No.
Why?
Because
you don't want to get arrested, do you?
I don't want to be arrested.
Because it's so harmful to people?
No.
Is that like gay bashing? What's wrong with that?
No, would you use that word?
Faggot?
Yeah.
I just did.
Yeah, but would you?
Faggot.
Okay, but why?
And I'm using it because you're not allowed to, because you're...
I'm allowed to.
Go ahead.
I don't want to.
Say, I love gay people. Faggot.
I'm allowed to. I just choose not.
Oh, this new Tucker, just so nauseous. He's just such a fraud. I've said this forever about Tucker. I just think you can't trust a word. The flip-flopping, the weird, quirky attitude. He never picks a side. I'm not buying this whole routine at all. I think he definitely works for the CIA. It's a whole different video.
Not to.
Would you say the word faggot
the context of this is he's Tucker is talking to him about because
no, he's trying to be cool, and I'm just not buying it.
A broader conversation about the censorship in Europe and what's happening, and them not being able to say anything, Pat, about immigration or anything. Because if you say anything, you're racist and all that stuff.
Which, by the way, Tucker has a point.
He does.
That you can't say this, and there are risks behind it. He has a point to say this, and Piers also represent.
Of course, he's going to throw out the obvious talk. We all know that. No matter what side you're on, we all know that. So, that's what he does. That's what Patrick Bet-David does. He has a point. He has to make him look like the good guy or the cool guy. Meanwhile, Tucker is beyond being full of shit. He doesn't stand for anything. Oh, it took him 54 years to figure out what AIPAC was doing? Not buying it, Tucker, at all. Fox News, he lied for years for Fox News corporate media. And then all of a sudden, he just has such a change of heart. Not buying it.
What he doesn't want to say, okay? And that's okay as well. You respect that. There's some words I know I can't say, I don't want to say. When I had the conversation with Nick, and I'm like, hey, you don't need to say some of these words that you're using because you're already very good at what you do. You don't need to do that. But his argument is, hey, I also want to live in America to be able to say whatever the hell I want to say. His argument is also a good argument. But I have a theory.
Okay.
I have a theory, Vinny.
Bring it on.
And tell me if this is a dumb theory. And let's see what the audience can say.
Okay, let's hear it.
Maybe this is a dumb theory. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's whatever.
Trust me, this was all rehearsed and practiced beforehand. And Adam knew exactly what he was going to say because Adam has his whole speech ready lying about Nick. But yeah, go ahead, PBD.
I have a feeling, okay? Because do you know how many times have you heard Tucker say the F word before?
I don't think I have.
I don't
You
think
never
so.
have.
I personally,
Not that one.
Not that one. He said it once in 2006 on a radio call when he called in. It's the only time. 2006, which is 20 years ago. So Tucker also doesn't say that word, but he just started saying that word. Now, why is he saying that word? I believe, in the craziest way, that Nick Fuentes has influenced Tucker to speak freely and say whatever he wants to say on his mind. So Nick Fuentes has brought out the Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson out.
Wow.
Oh.
And Nick.
And what he just said, Tucker's been stabbing Nick in the back since the interview ended, but look at what he said. Nick Fuentes has brought the Nick Fuentes out of Tucker Carlson. It's not about curse words. It's about the way he's perceived by a lot of the media and populace in America who are really not plugged in to Nick Fuentes. Here, I got to start with this. And I always have to repeat this. And I'm going to say it. Every time I talk about Nick, I'm going to say this over and over. And you're going to get sick of it. They want you to believe, Ben Shapiro and the pro-Israel lobby want you to believe that Nick Fuentes is the worst human being ever on the planet. Well, if that is true, then why did Ben Shapiro want an 18-year-old Nick Fuentes to work for him? His views have always been the same. He offered him a trip to Israel. He wanted to put him on the payroll. Nick declined. And from that point on, Ben Shapiro and all of his millionaire buddies said he's a danger. He's a threat. He's telling the truth. He knows how to speak. He's very charismatic. And they try to destroy his entire life. An 18-year-old Nick Fuentes, a college kid. So if he's such a horrible human being, why did you want him to work for you? And there you have it. Something is going on here. So what? Now all of a sudden, all the doors open, all the lights go on. Oh, Nick, come on our show. You're mainstream now. Something is going on. I can't figure out why they're allowing it to happen, but we all know it's not a good reason. We all know it's for a manipulation tactic. Oh, look at us. You should listen to us now. We believe in freedom of speech. We let him speak. It's like Piers Morgan. He does a show about Nick every day of the week for 10 years at a time, bashing him to no end, but he doesn't have Nick on to defend himself. It's outrageous. And all of a sudden, Piers Morgan wants to, get a pat on the back because Nick's finally going to appear on the show. Do not fall for PBD. Patrick Bet-David is no America First person. Piers Morgan is not America First. Tucker, I have no clue what he's really up to, and I don't trust him. Silicon Valley crowd if I had to put my money on, you say you have to put your money on something. This is what I'd put my money on. Somewhere along the line that Tucker is hooked up with J.D. Vance, somewhere, some type of whatever. And J.D. Vance will be pushed as the next president in 2028. I believe that J.D. Vance is nothing but a complete fraud. He struggled from middle class. I'm not buying the story at all. He hated President Trump couldn't stand him, called him every name in the book, and then all of a sudden he's his VP. No, he needed to win Ohio. That's why. They knew the story would work. They knew the manipulation tactics would work so President Trump could win the state of Ohio. That's all it is. Let's let Patrick Bet-David go on.
Is kind of leading Tucker for Tucker to come out and say, man, if that guy's saying it, I want to say it as well. So I believe deep down inside, because Tucker was in such a organized, structured CNN, who was he with? Fox. And I think, was he with MSNBC? Not MSNBC.
Yes, he was.
He was with MSNBC.
And CNN and Fox.
Because he's been in.
You see how Adam's chiming in. He's like, yes, he was. CBS and Fox and this one and that one. Because now that Tucker is telling the truth about Israel, they're trying to discredit him. Well, look at him. He worked for every network that's a total opposite. You can't believe a word that he says. And Patrick Bet-David is going along with this grift, whatever the hell, this angle, whatever he is up to, because he's up to something. They're all up to something right now. Tucker, PBD, Piers Morgan. I'm not talking about independent broadcasters like Tommy G and those types of guys. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that work for other people in corporations and networks. They are up to something, and it's not good. I mean, you can't. They probably thought to themselves, well, we've done everything to this kid to silence him, meaning Nick. We've took away his ability to make money. We banned him from everywhere, and he's like a rash that does not go away. It's just like we can't get rid of him. And the only other option left, which I can't say, we all know what it is, right? It's the Charlie Kirk option. This, and think about the reason why. Think about, I don't care about, listen, I don't want to hear about clips that were made when, they're playing GTA or they're playing Call of Duty and they're saying the way that men really talk off camera to each other. I don't want to hear any of that garbage. When Nick talks about policy, when he talks about policy in America and in Israel and the Middle East and immigration, and he talks about everything that's going on in the country, AIPAC and everything, let me know what part that he's saying is not true. There's nothing is more hated than a person. Nobody is more hated than a person that tells the truth. And nothing is more hated than the truth in 2025. And if our country continues to go down this road with J.D. Vance, who's already bought and paid for, and the Peter Thiel, the guy that's sponsoring him, how he wants to make the whole country like Minority Report, the movie, where we're already under a police surveillance 24 hours a day. Pretty soon you're going to walk out of your house and they could scan your eye from an airplane and knowing it's like the things that are going on here in this tech world are absolutely frightening. And these people they will stop at nothing to gain power. So when they open all the doors for Nick to be like, hey, come on in, we're going to interview you now. I mean, after 10 years, 12 years of trying to do everything on the planet, from stopping you from speaking, making a living, flying on an airplane, you're part of the group now. I know Nick knows better than to trust that. I know he definitely does. How come none of the Patrick Bet-Davids, the Tucker Carlsons, the so-called America First guys, they all claim they're America First. They all have connections beyond belief. How come they don't get in contact with people and be like, you need to let Nick have PayPal. You need to let Nick have a bank account. You need to let Nick be able to fly on an effing plane. They got a direct line to President Trump. You know why they won't do it? Because he's a threat. Because he has major influence. Because he has major power. See, all of these elites, they never thought it would get this far with podcasting and social media. They never thought in a million years that they would lose control of corporate media. They just thought we were going to be good little zombies and just eat it all up and just sit there like a zombie, not question anything. And, if you question anything, you get called every name in the book. You're an anti-Semite, you're an anti-this, anti-this, blah. That's what they thought they'd be able to pull it off. And now that you had one 18-year-old kid who's had the same views since he's 18, it's like a snowball effect that all these, like, wait a minute, this Nick, he's been saying the things that we're all finding out now since the time he's 17 years old. Now all the listeners are like, I'm not listening to corporate news. I'm going to tune into Nick Fuentes, wherever the hell he is at this point, because he's not allowed on YouTube. And this scares them. So I don't know what the game plan is here. Maybe they're all trying to make themselves look like they're American first and they're for freedom of speech. And they clearly aren't. They're all up to something. They're all trying to push a narrative. Patrick Bet-David, Piers Morgan, Tucker Carlson. Look what Tucker did to Nick after the interview. Not once during that interview did I get the impression or anybody get the impression that Tucker was sitting there in front of Nick and telling him, you need to be less anti-Semitic. I don't agree with you. There was never any type of debate even getting into that. It seemed like a smooth talk. And the minute he left that interview, he went around, he tried to change the narrative, and he's making it sound like, oh, Nick's an anti-Semite. I told him not to be an and every time he brings up Nick's name, he brings up, oh, he's an anti-Semite. That's beyond foul. Tucker Carlson's a grown, he's 55 years old, playing these types of games. It's absolutely disgusting. He's supposed to be a pillar of righteousness, the big Christian, lying through his teeth. His Christian faith, oh, I wouldn't do that. I'm a Christian. That's what Tucker always does. I would never do that. It's against my Christian faith. He hides behind his faith. It's a manipulation tactic. And Nick said it best the other day. It's like, he's not like a real person. Like, it's almost like he goes back to the cabin. He takes the rubber suit off. He takes the mask and he's like an alien. I've always felt that way about Tucker. It's like, this person is not a real person. It's not a real human being. I can't put my finger exactly what it is. Am I surprised at all that's what he did to Nick? Not at all. Zero. And the fact that, the father worked for the CIA. He worked for Fox News on, corporate media for 30, 40 years. Every one of their talking points hammering home. And then now he just woke up one day and he's just totally against the establishment. And he had a chance to prove that he was when he sat down and spoke to Nick, because he knows that everything that Nick says about policy is absolutely correct. And then as soon as the meeting's over, you pull a stunt and you try to make him sound like he's an anti. No, he has a problem with Zionists. He has a problem with the country of Israel being put in front of America first, just like millions of other Americans do. But since he has such a big audience, we all know the first thing that Israel and the pro-Israel crowd likes to do, and people like Piers Morgan and Patrick Bet-David, all of them, the entire group that are with corporate media, the first thing they try to do is character assassination. And that's what they've been trying to do to Nick. It seems like since the day that Nick came out of his mother's womb, it seems like they've been trying to do character assassination on him. And that should tell you something. When they're that adamantly against one person just for speaking, it should tell you what's coming out of it is absolutely true. That's all it is. He's telling the truth about Israel. He's telling the truth about the money trail. He's telling the truth about immigration. He's telling the truth about the direction of the country. He's telling the truth about how Trump plays to it. Trump's numbers are in the dumpster. Oh, I'm going to get rid of federal taxes, state taxes. I'm going to get rid of all these Somalians. He's not going to do any of it. He's just trying to pump up his crowd again, his base, make Trump. It's just all it is. It's WWF wrestling. Don't be fooled by this. Don't be fooled by the Patrick Bet-Davids. Don't be fooled by the Tucker Carlsons. Don't be fooled by the Piers Morgans. Their intentions are not good, and they are not America first. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros.